Hi guys, how you doing? I'm Lee of Lee the Geordie, and I am once again on the banks of the Tyne for yet another video. Behind me is Ousbourne and the Ousbourne Canal. Now Ousbourne is a thriving community with pubs, bars and shops. But I'm not heading there today. Today we're heading to an exploring Byker. Not Byker Grove, that's west of the city. But Byker is a deprived area of Newcastle itself, and a place I know all too well, as I'll explain further in the video. So let's head there now. So if you're ever in these parts of Newcastle, I recommend the Tyne Bar. Further along we've got little breweries and shops, which are nice. We've got a great view of the Tyne from here. If you haven't seen Eddie Hope's Tides of Life video, behind me is apparently hundreds if not thousands of dead bodies buried during the plague. So this is called Balhast Hills, and along here is an unmarked graveyard of hundreds if not thousands of bodies that were buried during the plague. If you've not seen Eddie Hope's Tides of Life video, he covers all of this in his video on his channel. So guys, we are on Albion Row in Byker, and the reason I'm coming this way is because I've got a past here, as I'll explain further. So 25 years ago, at 16 years old, this is where I had my first ever job. We can say now it belongs to Morley's. So my job here was the admin. So I would take phone calls, answer queries, take stock taken, that sort of thing. But I was only there for 3 months before I quit. So another aspect of my job at 16 was to carry bags full of cash to the Barclays on Shields Road. I always felt nervous walking this way because it's a very rough part of Byker, very deprived part of Byker. When people are desperate for money, they'll nick anything. Got to say, this place hasn't changed in 25 years. How much shouldn't it really? I mean, it's a council estate. 5 years ago I actually came here a few times, this area, looking for flats. And this was before COVID-19 happened. And I'm thankful that I didn't move here, because again, it's so deprived. It's a very poor, deprived part of Newcastle. The flats they have here are basically bedsits, so you have no separate bedroom to sleep in, which wasn't ideal, but back then I was desperate to move out, start new. So dead ahead we've got the Byker Wall, which is very famous. It's been here for a good 40-50 years, maybe even more than that. And that was where I viewed my first flat, actually. To be frank, the flats weren't very enticing to move in, because I'd say they needed a lot of work doing to them. One of the bathrooms I walked into was actually, the bath was stained. It didn't bother me at the time, but because I wanted to move out, when I was desperate to move out. But as I was saying, looks only skin deep. So you see this beautiful architecture, but inside it's just rotten to the core. There is the famous Byker Wall, a place I was going to move into 4.5 years ago. Raby Gate. Very noisy road. Ahead of us here is a metro, Byker Metro. So where I'm going next is actually, well, according to Billy Moore, the most dangerous street in the UK. Now, personally, I've been here a few times. It's been alright, but they might not like having a YouTuber poking around, but we'll see. And there we go guys, the most dangerous street in the UK, apparently. So I'm just passing the swimming facility, and ahead of us, see the golden arches of McDonald's. I'm going this way because I want to have the full sort of view of this so-called dangerous street, Shields Road. So we'll see what's around. It is currently 2 degrees Celsius right now, so it is absolutely freezing. What's that called? Chuchos. So guys, I can't see the actual signposts, but this is actually the beginning of Shields Road, the most dangerous street in the UK. The bike shop here. Shields Road. Just average Wednesday afternoon biker. Must be a new place. There is a wealth of shops here, fruit and veg. Most places are just run down. So guys, if you think this place is actually called Biker Grove, it's not. That show was actually filmed in west of Newcastle, near Benwell, so don't get confused with the two names. They're different, completely different. It's a very diverse place. I think most places in the UK right now, it's very diverse here. We've got the Crackpot Irish pub. Just thought I'd hit the back streets of Byker, the underbelly if you will. This part of Byker reminds me of Manchester, the high-rise flats. But yeah, apart from a few stairs, Shields Road isn't that rough. It's a Wednesday afternoon, so I've seen no bother, no violence, no crime. Billy Moore, you're wrong. Shields Road isn't the roughest street in Britain. I've been at far more rough places in the UK than here, so I'm going to defend my home city. Of course, Byker has its own Wetherspoons, which I've been to on many occasions. I believe at one point it was actually a warehouse full of stuff, like a junk shop of sorts. I've been there about maybe 3 or 4 years. My grandmother used to take her here all the time in a wheelchair. Back then it was more affordable, but as we know, the UK is in meltdown. Everything costs absolute fortune now, so a Wetherspoons isn't affordable anymore, sadly. I've always admired the shop. It sells the most premium stuff. Look at that, man. Winnie the Pooh, Piglet. I'm guessing we are still on Shields Road. There's no bother whatsoever. There's no trouble here whatsoever. So Billy Moore, you are incorrect. Of course, we've got the Morrison store behind me. Now, is it me, or is this entire country falling apart? Got a leaky roof there, bridge. Get it fixed, council, get it fixed. I mean, look at that structure, man. It just curves all the way at the end. Got the Thunder Metro above us. Five years ago I actually came here a few times actually to look for some places to live. They weren't very nice, to be honest. I mean, no offence to those who live here, but I wouldn't live here. I mean, at night times you can just imagine all the youths gathering here with their knives and their attitudes, and yeah, I wouldn't live here personally. But if you're coming to Newcastle and planning on coming to Byker, don't. I'm here because I thought about making a video here, but there's always a risk coming to these parts because, like I say, it's deprived. People are desperate for money, and there's crime, there's drugs, there's alcohol abuse, you name it. It happens here. But you know, aesthetically, the buildings are very pretty. I mean, they've got blue rooftops, but it's a mask. When you go inside these flats, they're not very enticing to live in. There's been notorious troubles here in the past. YouTubers like Billy Moore and Eddie Hope have been here and they've had issues with kids, youths. I mean, these areas are deprived for a reason, because decades ago there was shipbuilding in the area and of course coal mining, so people would have jobs to go to and feed their families. But now, I mean, there's a metro for people to connect to Newcastle and other areas, but it's a very deprived, poor part of Newcastle. And it actually gets worse the further west you go to places like Benwell, for example. I mean, Geordies in general are nice people, friendly even. But when you've got people living in deprived areas who've got no jobs, are desperate for an income, they resort to drugs, crime, all that bad stuff. Hi guys, so I'm back in the house. I'm in the process of getting this video put on YouTube. If you could like this video, I'd appreciate that. In this bottom corner here, you'll find a link to my channel to subscribe. Up here is another video I made on my many walks on this channel, so check that out if you can. So guys, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.